Um, so before when I decided I was going to speak today, there was a lot that I was praying about, and this is kind of what came to my heart and mind in time with Jesus and time in planning and talking to people who work here, professors, and I got this together, so this is what I have. So I've been wearing glasses since the 4th grade. As you can see, I have them on now, and if you wear glasses, you know that above is a little blurry and underneath is kind of blurry, and then you have these frames you see life through that, well, side to side, you really don't have good peripheral vision, but you can see. Well, that was my life. I always could see. Then I got contacts for the first time in 12th grade. Best day ever, I was so excited. I put the contacts on and went out of my front door, and I could see. But it was different. See, I never had been able to see without glasses on before. I never was able to just look around and see the whole entire world. And I'm from Maryland, so there's actually trees, and there was a breeze, and we had a lake, and as I was walking to my bus stop, I could see. I could see everything without frames. And in thinking about this, I realized that everybody has a pair of frames they see the world through. We all have something that kind of borders our vision. For me, this is a little about me. I'm gonna describe my frames. And as I describe mine, you'll probably realize you have your own. I'm from Bowie, Maryland, which is in PG County, which is the wealthiest African-American county in America, which sounds impressive, but it's really not, which kind of describes a lot of things that are wrong with America, but I'm not talking about that today. My city is 48% African-American, 41% white, 4% Asian, 5% Hispanic or Latino, and a mixture of a lot of different things. My home church includes a congregation of over 20 different nations. We also have people who are in the mission field all over the world. My friends growing up are a mixture of Grenadian, Cuban, white, black, Salvadorian, Dominican. I probably forgot some, and they'll probably be really upset at me when they see this, but it's gonna be okay. So you can imagine coming to Biola for me was a culture shock. I went from being surrounded by people that are different, who speak different languages, who are different colors, whose parents have different accents, who some parents don't even speak English. That was what I grew up around. That was normal for me. And then I came to Biola, and I was dropped into a sea of similarity. A sea where I was an outlier, where I didn't really fit in. I was overwhelmingly optimistic, and within my first week, I experienced my first blatantly racist experience of my whole entire life. Here, at Biola, by a fellow Biola student, which to you may be shocking, but to many of the people I know, that's normal. Within my first year here, I struggled accepting my beauty, something I had never struggled with before. It became crystal clear to me that I didn't fit into the Biola bubble standard of beauty and that I never would. In that, I learned a new reality. When preparing to speak today, this story from the life of Jesus came to my mind. I wanted to worship like this woman I'm gonna describe worshiped. I wanted to love like he did, and I wanted to point out the different frames that Simon saw this experience through. And how, well, Jesus has no frames, but how our frames can block us from seeing the beauty that is right in front of us because it's not normal to us. So I'm going to read to you Luke 7:36-40. One of the Pharisees asked him to eat with him, and he went into the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. And behold, a woman of the city, who was a sinner, when she learned that he was reclining at the table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of ointment, and standing behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears, and wiped them with her hair of her head, and kissed his feet and anointed them with the ointment. Now when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would have known who and what sort of woman this is who is touching him, for she is a sinner. Now after that, Jesus read his mind and had a clever response, normally, and he gave him this metaphor about forgiveness and forgiving sins and love, and then he forgave the woman and told her to go and be in peace. He also said to Simon, she did things that you didn't do for me while I was here. She honored me in ways that you didn't. Ways that Simon wouldn't have concerning his frames. See, the frame Simon had said, this is a sinful woman who isn't to touch someone holy. Her hair was down. Now that was rude. And she was a woman who didn't know her place. She was contaminating this holy God, this holy prophet, this holy figure. With her sin, she was touching him, crying over him. Most of all, he was put off. How dare she touch him, and how dare he let her? His eyes weren't open to the beauty because they were shaded by what he had been taught and what he had been trained in, things that he had been taught and trained in ways that weren't necessarily negative. These were things that they thought were right. Things they were trained were right. Things their parents told them were right. And here is Jesus defying all of it. The woman's frames were slightly different. See, she heard that Jesus would be there, and this could be her one chance for redemption. What else did she have to lose? She was already an outcast in society. She wanted to worship at his feet in a raw emotion. Jesus deserved all of her love and worship. See, there will always be diverse opinions and perspectives, but no human is 100% right about God. Whether you were trained to believe one thing or believe one thing, your church teaches something and someone else's church contradicts that, we will never be able to completely understand God until we're in heaven, and even then, maybe we won't really get it. We'll be so astonished and in awe that we may not be able to fully ever wrap our brains around the brilliance that is God. See, we were trained with social norms and ideals of what God is and isn't. So when someone contradicts that, we push it away and assume it's wrong. Whether it's their beliefs on God, whether it's their beliefs on society, whether they are extremists or whether they're pacifists, we all will see something different. We all see God as something different. We all see Jesus as someone different. But other people's perspectives may show us something about God we have never seen. See, the God I know may be slightly different than the God you know, and that may make your perception just a little bit bigger. So how do we ever get the full picture? We have to come together and work together. Even though our frames show us something different, we have to step together so we can value what others see and work to honor and praise God fully. That's something we just won't ever be able to do by ourselves. It's something that Simon, who was a Pharisee and who was trained in this, could not even do. When people don't think, see, or live like you, we all have to be challenged to value, respect, and validate their journeys. Because those journeys are exactly what gave them the perspective of God that they have. We have to also bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Don't be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Never be wise in your own sight. Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Romans 12, 14 through 18. Next up is Stephanie.